Hey everybody, what's up? It's Dunbar Snack Bar here with some MLB 2K11 and a tutorial on stealing bases. Now I know this has been something a long time coming, so hopefully this will have been worth the wait, because you guys have seen my videos and you guys know that I like to steal bases, and I steal bases a lot. It's something that benefited me when I was playing baseball in real life, and of course benefited my team as well. So I've incorporated the knowledge of what I've learned into how I play the video game here, and some of my strategy here as well. So hopefully the information that I have, I'll be able to share with you in a way that you guys can incorporate it into the way that you play the game and kind of get some little tidbits of information and some strategy that might help you out. So to kind of go into stealing here pretty briefly, I'm going to go first into why you would want to steal a base, how to steal a base, and when to steal a base. So I'll be referencing 2K11 a lot in this video because I have an Xbox 360 and that's really my only choice. But some of the principles that will be found in this tutorial can be applied to MLB The Show on PlayStation 3 and of course to stealing in real life as well. Now if some of the information I give is a little bit basic at first, please bear with me. That's just because I'm just trying to respect all of the viewers. I mean, I know I have some who enjoy baseball but just maybe don't know too much about the game and how it's played. So I'll kind of go over just some basic information here real quick. Now, why you would want to steal a base is there's kind of a twofold reason to it, but the biggest thing, of course, is the benefits that you and your team will receive offensively. Let's say you've got a runner on first base and you successfully steal and you get to second base. Awesome, great job. Now, when you're on second base, that creates a lot of opportunities for you to score that might not have been there when you were on first base. What I mean by that is you are in what is called scoring position. And for those of you who may not be too familiar with baseball, scoring position just means that if there's a good hit, there's a high chance that you're going to round third, go home, and score a run for your team. So we'll kind of use this example here real quick. Let's just say you're on second base and there's a ball hit in the left field. Now, if you go ahead and you of course go to your next base third and you turn and you look and see that there's still some time for you to be able to make it home, of course you're going to go home, you're going to score that run. Now, if you were on first and that same ball is hit in the left field and you advance towards second, I mean, you're going to see that there really isn't that much distance between the left fielder and the third baseman, and there's probably not enough time for you to be able to progress over to third. So offensively, there's a lot of perks of being able to steal bases. And there also is a thing, too, that kind of helps you out with stealing a base that kind of inhibits the opposing team defensively. Now, let's say rather than a ball hit in the left field, there's a ground ball hit to the shortstop. If you have a runner on first, let's just say there's one out, then that shortstop is going to throw it over to the second baseman, who will get the runner on first out, and then he'll go ahead and he'll turn and of course throw the ball over to first to get the batter out. So you have a double play. Now if you had stolen a base right before that hit and you had that person or that runner who was on first now on second, when the ball is hit to the shortstop, if you just stay there on your base, there's really nowhere that shortstop can throw except to first. So what would have been an inning-ending double play if you were on first is now just one out. There's 2 outs left in the inning, and who knows, maybe the guy next up is the person who hits that ball in the left field and you've scored a run. So there's a lot of great reasons as to why you would want to steal. It'll of course cause some confusion for the other team, and a lot of times I found that the opposing team will throw a lot of errors trying to get me out at second, which can either advance me or in some cases can score a run. So something definitely good to do. You got to remember though that stealing is a pretty risky thing to do. There are some things you have to take into consideration and to kind of measure up a number of things before you make that decision as to whether or not you should or should not steal. Remember that baseball is a game of statistics, so you can always use statistics and attributes to kind of let you know what you're going up against, and MLB 2K11 does do a great job of being able to help you kind of measure up what you have going for you and what you're going up against. So now I guess we kind of made the transition here into when to steal. When you have a runner on any base, you can go ahead and hit the start button on MLB 2K11 and it'll bring up a window that looks like this. Now right in the middle it'll give you the name of the runner, what base that they're on, and it'll give you a number here to kind of let you know their speed. Speed is probably one of the most important attributes to take a look at when you determine whether or not this base runner should go ahead and attempt to steal the next base. Typically, I will not attempt to steal a base with anybody who has a speed rating of 74 or less. I'll kind of go into when I would here in a little bit as well. And when you get into the 70s and sometimes in the 80s too, another attribute you want to take into consideration is acceleration. How long is it going to take for that base runner to reach their full speed? Because, of course, that means if they get to their full speed quicker, they'll get to the next base faster as well. So that's one thing to take into consideration is seeing what you have. But I think the most important thing to take a look at and to take into consideration is the opposing team. You've got the pitcher and the catcher that are two fundamental parts of what is going to stop you from stealing a base. With the catcher, it's pretty straightforward. How good of an arm does he have and how fast can he throw it towards second base? But the biggest part is the pitcher. Now, to kind of give you, again, some pretty basic information here on baseball, there is what is called a balk. Now, it's very complex and would be a tutorial in and of itself to explain what a balk is, because it can go anywhere. I mean, basically what it means is that the pitcher has made an illegal motion, and there's a penalty, of course, for the pitcher doing that. That's, all the runners get to advance one base. So it's something that the pitcher really does not want to do. And so with a balk and making an illegal motion as a base runner, it's something that you can use to your advantage. Because once a pitcher starts his windup towards home, he can't stop and he can't make a movement towards home and then start throwing it over to, your base to try and pick you off or the next base to prevent you from going. So to kind of go over when to pitch, of course, when you're taking that into consideration, you are going to want to have to steal against a pitcher who has a longer windup. For example, if you go up against a pitcher who has a pretty quick windup, that means the ball is in the catcher's hands a lot quicker, which means it's being thrown to second a lot quicker and you have less time to steal, which means you're going to need a faster runner to make up for that time. Let's take, for example, the closer for the Philadelphia Phillies to take a look at the opposite side of the spectrum when you have somebody who has a very long windup. That means, of course, you got more time to be able to steal the base, and that's usually when I'll go with somebody who, has a 74 or below speed rating, because I know that those guys can make it there. So you want to take a look at the pitcher and, of course, his windup. How long is it? And you kind of judge after a little bit of time what kind of windup you're comfortable with and the timing of it. And another thing to take into consideration with the pitcher is what kind of pitches does this pitcher throw. Again, MLB 2K11 does a great job with providing you the kind of information that you need to make a good decision on whether or not to steal. When you are up at the plate, you can go ahead and hit the right button on the directional pad, and it'll bring up a window that looks like this. That'll let you know the amount of times that a pitcher will throw a particular pitch, and it'll give it to you in percentages. So if you go up against a pitcher who throws a fastball 75% of the time, then obviously you know that ball is going to have a faster velocity and it'll be in the catcher's hands a lot quicker. So you'll usually want to steal a base with a quicker person when a pitcher has a very high fastball percentage, as opposed to somebody who might have a pretty low fastball percentage and has like a high curveball or a changeup percentage. Then it's kind of a little safer to steal for you. So when you take those things into consideration, of course, then that is when you should decide when to steal. So to kind of sum it down here real quick, if you've got somebody who's really fast and you're going up against a pitcher who has a long windup and throws relatively slow pitches, it's basically the golden time to be able to steal and do it like crazy. And you'll find that even stealing third might be something that will be pretty simple for you. Of course, when you go from first to second, that's a lot easier to steal because there's more distance for the catcher to throw from home to second than it would be from going to the next base, second to third. And of course, going from third to home is the most difficult kind of steal to do, because the only time that you have is waiting for the pitcher to throw it, and then it's right there in the catcher's hand and he's ready to protect the plate. So it's something that you very rarely do, but it's something that's pretty awesome when you can do it. So that's kind of going into when you want to steal here real quick. Kind of like how to steal and when to steal. I guess I'm mixing these on in here. But to kind of go into the gameplay here real quick, of course, when you want to steal or how you steal is you hold down on the button that you use to advance the players with. Now, the reason why I have to say the button is because it's going to be different for my player mode versus like if you're just playing a straight game. So we'll kind of reference my player mode here real quick. One of the things that's very important when you steal a base is that you space out the leadoff here. Because if you just keep hitting right trigger, right trigger, right trigger, right trigger pretty quick to, step closer away from the base, then that kind of triggers the pitcher to go ahead and try and pick you off. So it's something that you want to space out. And you'll see that I do that in my videos is I'll be like right trigger, right trigger, right trigger. Less likely for them to pick you off is kind of what I've seen. They're more likely to let you go. Of course, having a big leadoff is huge in stealing bases because that means that you're farther away from the base that you're on, closer to the base that you want to be to, or that you want to be on and go to. So having a big leadoff, of course, is key, but you don't want to give yourself a leadoff that is so big that it's going to be pretty easy to pick you off. So once that pitcher starts his windup, once you have a good leadoff, you go ahead, you release the trigger, and then you're starting towards second. Now, in the process of going towards second, you can, of course, slide in different ways depending on what kind of throw you think it's going to be. On the joystick on the left, you can, if you go upwards, you're going to slide head first. If you put it down, you're going to slide feet first, and of course you can go side to side based on kind of what you think is going to happen. So that's kind of, when and how to steal, of course. Some strategies for stealing bases that I think is fundamental. I kind of went over with it here. First is you have a higher chance of stealing second base than you do third, and you have a higher chance of stealing third than you do home. So going to second, I think, will be key and a great starting point for you guys, and then you'll kind of learn what runners you can steal third with and against what kind of pitchers here as well. One of my favorite times to steal is when I have runners on first and third. Now, when I was playing catcher, this was the time that I hated the most because it kind of put me in a difficult situation. And this is something that I've done against people online, and I've done in the game as well. So you've got a runner on first here, of course, and you got that runner on third. With the runner on first, if you start going to second, if that catcher tries to throw it to second base, then the runner on third has a pretty good chance of being able to go home. He's probably already leading off a little bit, and that's actually more time than what would be needed, for a pitcher to throw it home and then to second. So there's more time there. So usually I will steal with the runner on first to kind of see if the person will throw it to second. If they do, the runner at third is going home. Now, at the same time, too, if I'm going up against somebody who kind of knows, that I'm going to be doing that, I'll still send the guy from first, and more often than not, the catcher will either hold on to it, and I've got the free base there going from first to second, or they'll throw it over to third trying to get me out, which is a smart thing to do, but usually that's pretty rare that somebody will get me doing that. And so once again, I've got a runner on second and third now. So a good hit into the outfield will score 2 runs. So that's kind of just some strategies on stealing here real quick, just a little bit of information. Don't have too much time to go over everything with you, but hopefully that kind of helps you out. The best thing that you guys can do, though, is MLB 2K11 does provide you with the opportunity to practice stealing bases. You can find it in the drills section in the main menu. So pick your favorite team, kind of go through the roster and find the fastest person on the team and try and use that person as you try and steal bases. Now, it is something that will take some time. Again, it is kind of difficult to learn here at first, and it is a pretty risky thing to do. So don't be surprised if you miss a few times. I mean, I still miss some bases here as well. I've shown them in my video here. So hang in there. Of course, if you guys have any questions about stealing bases, let me know. Shoot me a message. I'll try and answer what I can, just to try and help you guys out because I can. Now, if there is anything else that you guys might want to see from me, let me know. I might put out another tutorial if I get as many requests for stealing, or for any other tutorial as I got for this stealing tutorial. Pretty fun to do. But thanks for watching, guys. As always,